G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been around 2 weeks since I've posted. There's been good reason for that. First reason is I wanted to make sure I bring you guys actual good content and not just make content for the fun of it. So that's number one reason. Number two, I got a little bit of a shiner. I actually walked into the garage door and gave myself a black eye and split my eye open. But that's not why I didn't make videos, I don't care about that. But I wanted to have a complete video and show you guys heaps of stuff all in one, so it's action-packed and heaps going on. We've got a little bit of an update out there. I'll get to that in a minute. But the VL is still for sale, still pristine, still perfect. My Civic from the last track day, I've got to pull the gearbox out and reseal it. The B18 C2 Turbo Integra is going to get started on again and picked back up next week. I've got to dingleberry the engine, put in the new rods and gap the piston rings and all that with all new bearings and head studs, etc. So we'll get to that next week. I wanted to show you guys a huge update on Rhonda. Now I know what you're thinking, that's not budget, which is the big running joke that we have every time we do anything to this car. We always joke with each other, that's not budget, because people seem to think that we're spending $1 million on this race car when we're clearly not. Although she looks like $1 million, and I'll get to that in a second. There's a few things we've done, and I've shot some stuff earlier on the last couple of weeks, so we'll jump to that. A couple of things have changed since we last gave you an update on Rhonda. You've seen her at the track. There was a small issue with the knock sensor. We kept getting a reading on that. This is the old one. They're very, very hard to tell if there's anything wrong with them. We did plug it into John's multimeter. Didn't give any sort of signal or anything at all, but it looks crusty. We got a shiny one, it's in there, everything plugged in. I checked the wire, it didn't seem to have any visible signs of anything wrong with the wiring, so that's good to go. Also, since last time, we've done some changes to the intake. We fitted the eBay spec manifold. This is a copy of Skunk 2 and it's a copy of RBC, which is the one that gives you the most power. To make this fit with the factory J-series throttle body, so this is a 65mm throttle body, we had to buy a Skunk 2 adapter plate. I've blocked off all the holes. The one that I have on my Civic was pretty good. I just port matched the runners. Everything else inside here looked pretty nice. I've got a bigger throttle body on my Civic, so I port matched this side as well. But on this one, it was a pretty bad casting, I'll be very honest. This is just the eBay spec manifold. It was $189 delivered. And it's always a good idea to check inside them and give them a clean up. I used a carbide burr and I just ground everything out to enlarge the hole size, and then I used a flapper wheel and smoothed everything out. Got all the way inside all of these and gave them a really good clean out. So that was awesome. Fits up with the RACEWORKS fuel rail. And I blocked off all the extra pollution stuff we don't need. So that's flawless. We've now got no bends in our intake really. So this is just a straight shot. You've seen on gears and gasoline, this gives you the most horsepower having a straight shot and this big plenum. So once we did that, we went and got a Chongdata Stage 2 tune, and we should be putting out somewhere around about 150 kilowatts at the wheels. However, in the last track video, you would have seen we didn't break any records. We didn't go any faster as far as kilometers per hour. And that's because every time we hit the track, we had an engine light come on and they always said knock sensor. So we've cleared the codes, we've changed the knock sensor. Hopefully that's fixed our issue, but that's what's changed inside here. The other thing we've done, which is pretty tricky to see in the dark, but I'll just flick the lights on, is we've added some RACEWORKS gauges. These are awesome. You can change the color to whatever you like. We've just made them red because it matches the needles there on the dials. And we've got oil pressure and oil temperature. Now it's got a warning light which you can hear and see because there's no oil pressure because the engine is off. And there's also one set up for the oil temp. When it goes to 120 we get an alarm as well, exactly the same. These are really excellent. We just made a lightweight bracket because this is a race car, screwed it into the dash and everything was really simple to plug in. Just had to give one of the gauges power, and you can daisy chain onto every single other gauge. So that made it a really awesome feature of the RACEWORKS gauges. One gauge gets power, and then you daisy chain link to the next one, and so on and so forth. You could have infinite number of gauges if you wanted to, but we just need those two, so they're in. We've got a water temperature one as well, which we'll probably run at some stage later on down the track. One thing I do need to change, and we'll get to that soon, is I put the oil temperature sensor in the hot side, so the temperature coming out, not the temperature going back in. So I need to switch those around. We did a track day, got the oil temp to 120. That's as it comes out of the engine. So that's at its hottest. We want to check what it is when it goes back in after we've cooled it with our oil cooler, which you would have seen in the last video right there in the front. So there's those two things off the list. Next on the list is a really weird one for a race car. In the past, I've taken out the head unit. It's quite bulky. They have a factory 6-stacker in there. What I did is I pulled all of this apart and I removed all the guts out of here. So this is empty, but it's still pretty bulky. The reason for this is we run an app which tells us the times we do. We've reached out to Max Peating Rods. They actually do a really awesome 10.5-inch Android compatible in-dash screen. Not gonna lie, I've tested this, and the first instance of looking at it with the screen on and everything was amazing. The quality is really good, and the clarity of the picture is really good. If we can get it to mirror one of our phones and show all of our draggy info and our lap times, it'll be just like playing Gran Turismo in real life. We'll have a big digital LCD screen showing all our track info, and or we can put a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi dongle in the OBD port and run all the information of the car on here, so we can see temperatures, speed, VTEC, all that stuff that shows through the computer. We can show it on the screen here, hopefully, as a worst case. But if we can't get either of those two things to work, we're going to pull this back out and I'm going to give it away to one of you guys. So fingers crossed for us it works. It comes with all the stuff you're going to need. So cleaning cloth, all the tools to pop the dash out, all of the plugs for the auxiliary stuff so you can run in and out, all subs, amps, everything. You get 2 USBs, which the CL9 doesn't come with. That's those there. Nice long cables. You've got a microphone for your Bluetooth, hands-free, GPS sensor so you can run all of that through the unit. Really simple to plug this in and get it working. You just take out the old one, which is just a matter of 3 screws at the top after you pop the top off the dash. And the bottom just pops out as well. Over on the back, there's 2 green ones. This does your climate control. And then there's one down here for your CD player and all the music. On this guy, same deal. Comes with a harness. 2 green ones for your climate control. 1 blue one for your head unit controls. I'm going to put the GPS one on, which just screws in there, but I'm not going to bother with all the other ones because we don't need anything to do with sound. We want to be able to mirror and Bluetooth all the apps onto that screen. So I'm going to chuck this in now. Really straightforward. It's just plug, click, 3 screws and you're done. So I'm going to do that now, show you what it looks like when we turn it on. This is what the unit looks like all plugged in. As you can see, it's really bright and clear. I don't know if this works because obviously we're stationary, but it tells you the time, speed, because we've got the GPS just up there on the dash, shows us our McLaren or whatever that is. So Rhonda got an upgrade. But you've got a menu button, Google, Bluetooth, music, navigation. I don't know what here we go means. Maybe that's Mario Kart, I'm not sure. But YouTube, the Google Play Store. This is the thing that we were looking for. John tells me that hopefully, fingers crossed, we can download the Draggy app and run everything we want to on here. And that will mean that we can get rid of this guy because this is where the phone goes and we watch our race times. But if we can get it on there, that's going to be excellent. We've got none of the radio or sound stuff is connected, or the voice recorder, none of that's been connected because This is a race car, but for you guys at home, if you have a CL9, which I know most of you guys watching this will have, go out and grab this unit. It fits in really, really well. It controls all your AC controls and climate control, all on the dash. And yeah, it's so far so good, really, really excellent. We're gonna have to connect up our phones and all plug in so we can use these features, but it works, it looks good. Can say highly recommend. There'll be a link in the description if you want to grab yourself one of these units from Max Peating Rods. Very, very happy with it. And it's really quick to load too, so we'll just turn the ignition off, turn it straight on, bang, straight up. So it's not one of those slow, cheap units. Everything works really, really quickly. So John's been in the car playing around for a while. He's a bit of a tech guru, so he's managed to pair his iPhone with the Max Peating Rods Android app. And just tell us what you've done, John, and what it's doing.
So everything's working. So GPS is working, YouTube music is working, shows you what's playing, where you are. All the apps are here. So everything that CarPlay allows you to see on screen works. I can't get it to mirror the screen because normally CarPlay will block that.
Yeah, so you can't watch videos while you're driving.
No, you can plug a USB in and watch videos off a USB.
Yep.
But it's not allowing me to stream video or mirror my screen. But I might be able to still work that out. I'm not sure. But at least this is off CarPlay. I'm on an Apple phone. Everything's working. We've tried making a call. It'll make a phone call off there. If we want to go back to the car, it gives us our car settings. We can also control all the heater controls. If I turn the temperatures up and down on here, these will go up and down. I haven't got the ignition on, so, but when the ignition's on, this was working before. I might have killed that. Oh no, there it is.
Turn it on, turn the
no, there's a temperature going up and down. As I turn the temperature up and down, there's driver's side temperature, fan controls, so demisters, everything's working.
Excellent. And we haven't driven it yet, so we can't tell if the speedo is going to work, and it's probably going to run off the GPS or something, but you know, I don't know why we need that because we've got the one over there, but just as a bit of an extra cool feature. But what John's saying is there is something that plugs in that you would use on either a desktop or any other device which allows you to mirror your phone. We're going to try that on this so we can use the Draggy app. Otherwise, Apple CarPlay and everything else is working flawlessly. All the features work. John's been having a bit of a play. Obviously, when you get something like this new in a car, it takes a half an hour, 20 minutes to set everything up, get all your settings right, pair your Bluetooth, give it a name, choose the type of car and stuff. Honda was way down the list. We were going to put Lamborghini, but we managed to find Honda. We've called it Rhonda, so you can change all the names and everything. It's really user-friendly. Well, I hope you understood why we did that and enjoyed that little update on Rhonda. If you want to grab yourself one of those, you'll have to buy it from the States. They are for left-hand drive cars. All the controls are on the other side of the car. We need it to run all of our race data on the screen. We just thought it'd be better. And Max Peating Rods, we couldn't have done it without you guys. Thanks so much for always sponsoring me and sponsoring the channel and Rhonda. So we decided to take advantage of that and run one of their units in there. I think it works great. It looks great. I think it looks great. It definitely works great. So hopefully we can get that mirror imaging thing to work while we're on the racetrack. If not, we'll pull it out and give it away to one of you guys. Alrighty, for this next bit, there is a massive, massive, massive update on Rhonda. She's totally changed. She's no longer a dirty pig that's 5 different colors. She's all one color. Well, she's actually 2 colors. And without further ado, here she is. So Rhonda has been completely wrapped in a metallic-y chrome pearl blue finish. Now the reason for this color choice is one of our team members, Stig, he just loves blue. What can I say? Blue is his favorite color. So this color is Stig Blue. He's wanted it to be this color or have this color on the car since day dot. So I turned around and I bought off eBay $400 worth of blue wrap. And me and my friend Michael, who you would have seen on a couple of videos, he has only wraps as a hobby and he wraps cars just as a hobby. So if you're looking for some wrap work in Springvale, Clayton area, give him a hit up, Michael at Only Wraps. Tell him I sent you and he'll definitely look after you. So that's why we went with this color. Everything now, including the side skirts, is done. Now normally if you go and wrap a car, it costs heaps and heaps of money. We used what Michael likes to call China wrap. I just got it off eBay. I got two 10-meter rolls. There was a lot of wastage. It took us a whole week, $200 each roll, so $400 in total. And we've wrapped the whole car. It was a learning experience for me. I've never done that before, but I think you'll agree it turned out pretty awesome. You can still see all the hail damage in Rhonda. We had to bog up this section here because there was a big dent there. We fixed the quarters. I think it was the other side had a big dent there as well. And around here on the guard, you can see through where all the paint was flaking. I tried to sand all the clear off, but yeah, it just looked horrible. We've discovered this guard is full of bog anyway, which is why we got it so cheap. Yeah, that's the corner we patched up. You can sort of see it there. So we're not sure how well this wrap is going to stick, how long it's going to last and all of that, but it looks incredible for the moment. The next thing I did was I had to put my touch on it, and I used the Turbo Tristan typical fluoro yellow, and I actually painted the mirrors and I painted the door handles. I painted this little section here in the grille, and I want to do the Honda badges front and rear. And the headlights were full of some powder and rocks and stuff. Somebody obviously had water in them at one stage and put one of those absorbent packages in there, and it leaked all through the headlights, so they were terrible. I pulled them apart using my heat gun, and I painted this part here, which is normally black. I painted that fluoro yellow to match and cleaned it all up, put it all back together, and sanded the headlight covers with 2000 grit sandpaper and clear coated it with 2K clear, which is the same paint I used to cover the door handles and every other surface on the car. And I think you'll agree that turned out awesome. One of a kind. There's no fluoro yellow headlighted Accords anywhere in the world, I checked. The next thing that jumps out is we have some heat extraction vents. Now one thing is with the front bumper, we're going to cover that mostly off except for a small section to let air into the radiator. If you're letting air into the car, you've got to let it out of the car. Normally people put vents here, but because of the shape of the bonnet, that is a high pressure zone, all the air hitting it there. It's going to be forcing air into the hole. So what I actually did was move the vents back to a low pressure area, so when the air is going over the bonnet, by the time it gets to here, it's actually going to help to suck the air out of those vents. And it took me a whole afternoon to get those symmetrical and lined up, but yeah, we've now got some awesome cooling vents. I got these off eBay. They're a couple of $100. They came from, I'm not sure which country, can't even pronounce it, but it was yeah, very quick. It only took about a week and they turned up, so that was great. So there we have it. Rhonda is now a different color. We do need to apply all of our sponsorship stickers, so we've got to hit up PROTEX, RACEWORKS, Max Peating Rods, Zestino tires, Denso plugs, PAT, Premier Auto Trade. We've also got to get some Chong Data stickers on there, and I'm sure there's more. T7 Designs, SpoolUp.com's got to go on there, and Rhonda Racing needs to be on there as well. Plus we've got to get our number back on the side, number 10. Just on Spool Up, I've actually been selling quite a few brake pad upgrades, rotors, lower ball joints for the CL9s. fuel injectors for CL9s, and some other bits and pieces, gaskets, etc. So thanks so much to the guys that are supporting me and the channel and Spool Up by purchasing from spoolup.com.au. Link will be in the description. So make sure you grab all your Honda Accord parts from there, and you know, there's quite a few other different vehicles available on the website as well, and it's expanding. And yes, I'm changing the layout and the design. We're moving to a Shopify store in the next couple of days, probably by the end of this week. Shopify store will be up. So big shout out to Lachlan. He's a friend of mine who I met through Rex H. He's a computer guru in the group, so he's going to be doing the website for me. It's pretty much done. We've just got a few finishing touches. Should be up by the end of the week. But I hope you guys really love Rhonda in all of her blue glory. And again, just for the people who think this isn't budget, $400 to get the whole look of the car changed. I also went to Bunnings and got some paint. So I've done plenty of painting tutorials in the past. Sand it, prep it, do all that. Plastic primer for plastic parts, etch primer for metal parts, and regular primer for anything else. The fluoro yellow paint comes from Bunnings. There's an undercoat. You need the undercoat to make the fluoro pop. If you use a dark undercoat, this is going to be dull, so use a bright white undercoat. Then lightly spray on the yellow, so you've got full coverage, but don't go too heavy because it'll dull out the white underneath. And then once that's ready to go, hit it with some 2K clear. These ones you get from Complete Auto Paints in Springvale. And you just pop the membrane in the bottom, sets off the hardener, and then you've got a hard 2K clear finish. As you can see, perfectly clear on the headlights and all of the handles and traffic areas on the car. So all budget stuff. To totally change the look of the car, we set back $400 for wrap and about $100 for paint. I bought 2 cans of everything, but I didn't need them. I only used one, not even a full can of each color and primer. So we've still got heaps of that left. So under $100. Let's call it $500 for a complete Rhonda makeover. And I think you'll agree, she looks awesome. I'm going to pick up a new bumper today. Our old bumper is hacked up, chopped up, beat up, and smashed up. So it's going to go in the bin most likely. And we've ordered some carbon fiber sheeting, very thin, like under 1 mil thick, to plate off the whole front of the car. Then we'll wrap parts of that, expose some of that, and have the duct for the radiator. And that's only a couple of $100 worth of carbon fiber, which we got through a friend of mine who imports stuff from China all the time. So again, still budget. So for those guys who think, oh, that's not budget, which we do get a lot when we go to the budget enduro, our car still owes us under or around about $5,000, which is within the rules. We've never actually won a budget enduro. We've come close once. We've DNF'd 2 times. We've been disqualified once. So yeah, I'm not sure what everyone's worried about. We aren't really a threat to anyone. We stick to the rules, except for that one time where we went under the speed limit and we got disqualified for going too fast, which we won't do that again in this series. We do need to do some more things to Rhonda. Everything else has been preventative maintenance or just trying to help longevity of the car. It's got 250,000 kilometers on the car. We've put an oil cooler on it to help with that. We're still running the factory oil pump, which we know we need to change. And we're still running factory valve springs, which again, I want to change those out for some heavy duty ones. And I want to change the oil pump out. Once we do those 2 things, the motor should go on forever, and we'll obviously refresh it at the same time. We've got ACL race bearings sitting around, which we can throw in there. They're only a couple of $100 as well, but they're not in the car yet. So yeah, she is still a budget race car. Again, we have had a lot of help from sponsors, but not a lot of high cost stuff. Most of it is hand fabricated by me, bought off eBay, imported in from China and whatnot, but We are really, really happy with Rhonda. The next few things we need to definitely do, besides the oil pump and the valve springs, is we need an LSD in the car. We are spinning up the inside wheel all the time. So we need to definitely work on getting some more traction aids in the car. But otherwise, everything else is pretty bang on at the moment. Next aero mods will be a front splitter to match the rear setup we've got going on. We need to balance that out in the front. But that's it. It's been 2 weeks. Sorry it took so long. I'm waffling on now. But don't forget to spool up, bring the boost. We'll see you in the next one. Don't forget, shop www.spoolup.com.au for all of your parts. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.